Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Exordia Creative Podcast. I'm your co-host, Quentin Solomon.
I'm Jared Lund.
And with us today, we've got Ryan Rusnak from Advanced Realty. Welcome, Ryan.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. So we wanted to bring on a real estate agent today. The market is hot in Chatham, Kent.
Yeah.
And we wanted to talk a little bit about that, get to know Ryan a little bit more. And,
For sure.
It is, yeah. Thanks for having me. It's awesome to see young people moving back here, and you guys do a lot for the community. You do a lot to help not just realtors, but all different businesses really promote themselves and have a big impact on social media. So it's awesome. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, we're happy to have you.
That's actually how we got in touch, I think, creating content for your listings, like photo and video,
Yep.
graphics and stuff like that to help you boost your own social media.
Absolutely.
And yeah, speaking about doing stuff for the community, that's something that we wanted to touch on today is Stubborn Buffalo.
Absolutely, yeah. It's an organization that's run by a local friend of mine, and it's basically all the money raised goes to help support ALS research, which is a really terrible disease that affects a lot of Canadians. Last year, I had an incentive, raised $2,100
Awesome.
for the first quarter of the year, and hoping to beat that this year. So if anybody works with me on the buy or the sell side this year, I'll donate $300 from each sale. Nice. In hopes of raising more than $2,100 this year for ALS research.
That's great.
That's awesome. I remember getting introduced to it, funny enough, by the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yep.
If you guys remember a couple
That's
years
right.
ago.
It was very effective.
Oh, that was huge. That was awesome.
Everybody and their cousin was doing it. And that's cool. So this is Chatham-based, Stubborn Buffalo.
That's right. All the money does go to Windsor, Essex, but they do support anyone in Chatham-Kent that has the disease as well.
Cool.
Yep.
So can people contribute to this, or
how do they
get involved?
They can, yeah. There's we could probably put the Facebook page up, reach out to Grace, and you can directly donate too if that's something people would want to do. Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to Stubborn Buffalo. And thank you.
Doing great things for sure.
And thanks, Ryan, for
So now we kind of want to jump into a little bit about Ryan. So tell us a little bit about yourself. When did you get started in real estate? Were you born and raised in Chatham, Kent?
So I grew up in Tillsonburg, Ontario, about an hour and 45 minutes from here. Met my wife, University of Waterloo, and she grew up here. She's in healthcare now back in Chatham, so that's how I ended up here. Bought my first rental property when I was 22, so that kind of got me
Good for you.
interested in it. Still own that in Tillsonburg. And my mom was a realtor in Tillsonburg for quite some time. My aunt's still a realtor in Woodstock, so I'd always be kind of around them, talking about it. Got introduced to the industry through them, and when I moved here, I was working with a company out of London, doing a lot of traveling. Decided I was start taking my real estate courses and got licensed, and haven't looked back. It's been a lot of fun. So
beautiful.
Yeah, it's been great.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Awesome.
So Chatham is a small town. What is that? How does that compare to Tillsonburg?
Chatham's pretty similar to Tillsonburg, really.
Okay.
Chatham is twice the size, but they're pretty similar communities, really. I mean, there's a bit more going on in Chatham, I'd say. But yeah, they're pretty similar communities. They're both nice places to live. I mean, not a lot of crime. Chatham's a lot more affordable real estate wise than Tillsonburg. Tillsonburg's close to a lot of people in Tillsonburg work at Toyota, big Toyota factory in Woodstock.
Right.
In Cami, big Toyota factory in Ingersoll also. GM in Ingersoll. So there's still a lot of automotive jobs around there, so that props up the price of real estate.
Sure.
But no, they're both nice communities for sure.
Cool.
To grow up in, raise families in.
Yeah.
So as somebody who's got an eye on both markets, well, I'm assuming Tillsonburg too, because you've got the rental property. Do you think Chatham is kind of following suit?
Definitely.
Kind of starting to spike up the way Tillsonburg might have?
Definitely. Yeah, it's taken a bit longer to get here, but it's definitely, things have really jumped since, it's like January 2016. Things have.
That's when things kind of,
that's when everything popped. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I used to own a house. My first house was right across from your guys' office here, like right on 4th Street.
Yeah.
That took almost 8 months to sell.
Wow.
And then now there's houses on that street trading for, almost $100,000 more than I sold for. 5 years later. So it's been pretty incredible. I don't know if anyone really saw it coming to this extent. I remember that year when we could see things were really jumping up in value, and then people said, well, is this just a one-off? Are people going to regret that they are paying these prices? And now here we are 3 years later, people wishing they could have bought at 2016, 2017 prices, right? So that's the thing about real estate. Nobody knows really where it's going, but I think it's going to continue. Everything that they're saying, it's going to continue. Real Estate Wealth Magazine's predicting 9% appreciation in Windsor this year, 2020. We usually fall pretty closely in line with Windsor. Might see like 5 or 6% increase. So I think if you're not in the market now, you're going to want to get into the market, but
it's tough to say, right?
No one has a crystal ball.
Exactly. Nobody has a crystal ball. What other trends are you noticing in Chatham-Kent? Like the people that are moving to Chatham-Kent, are they young? Are they old? Or is there a mix? And where are they coming from? And
they're mostly, so the real estate board has been tracking out of town buyers, and last year it was almost 40% of buyers were from outside of Chatham-Kent. So, and it's not just GTA. It seems to be like Windsor, Essex, Kingsville, but a lot of GTA. We're like the last affordable market in Ontario. They're priced out at Tillsonburg, Woodstock, London. Average selling price in London today is like $470,000 for a detached home.
And we're still around what, 250?
260. So it's mostly like the baby boomers, people that grew up here, went away to work in Barrie, Toronto. Now they're coming back and they want those houses with no stairs, bungalow, main floor laundry. You know, it doesn't have to be a huge rancher or anything like that, but they just want everything on the same floor. Those properties are in pretty hot demand, and anything where they can avoid the stairs. But with that being said, I sell to a lot of people like your guys' age and younger. So it's really a mix. It's not just, Chatham-Kent kind of has the stigma of being just a retirement community. That's not the case.
I mean, if you look around Chatham-Kent, there's no reason why it shouldn't be a tourist destination. I don't know what the issue is. I'm trying to figure it out. But we have the lakes. We have the trails. We have all of these beautiful experiences that you
Rondo
can experience.
Park is beautiful, right?
Rondo Park, Wheatley, everywhere. There's a ton of stuff to do. And so I don't know. I don't know what the pigeonhole is. I don't know why it's not happening. But I feel like the growth that we're experiencing now, I feel we're on the cusp maybe of some boom.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. I remember when I started calling Chatham-Kent like Canada's hidden gem.
Yes.
And people kind of laugh, but when you get people here, they love it.
Yeah.
They really do. They all say the same thing that I've been saying since I moved here. Like, there's pretty much everything you could ever want to do in terms of shopping. There's a lot of great restaurants. And if you can't find it here, you can get to it in 40 minutes in Sarnia, Windsor, Detroit, or back to London. Yeah, sure. We're not that far from London. I mean, no, it truly is a great place to live. And that's the nice thing about being a realtor. We are like the cheerleaders for any town, any market you're working in, or like municipality. We are the cheerleaders. So it's great to get people here, and you kind of sell them on the city. And once they get here, they do realize that they love it. Yeah. I don't think I've sold to anyone that once they get here, they're 6 months later, they think that they made a mistake. It really is a great community, and our weather's awesome.
Yeah, we do have great weather. Great growing weather too.
Even moving here from Tillsonburg, like I noticed the difference from an hour and a half away. Like our winters are so much less mild, so much more mild. And so much less snow. It's crazy. It's great.
It's good.
No need to own a snowblower.
So you know that we do a lot of stuff on social media and stuff. So we're gonna dive right into it.
Yep.
I would like to know what platforms you find effective. How are you using them to sell? Are you using them to sell?
For sure. I try to use all of them. I mean, I'm older than you guys, so I'm not really familiar with like TikTok and things like that.
Do you guys have a TikTok account yet?
No.
You got to make one.
I know. What is it exactly? Is it? See, I don't even know.
So I'm kind of an old grouchy man about this platform, but essentially what the vibe that I get from it is it's kind of like Vine. Did you ever like pay attention to Vine or anything? The 6-second video thing.
I didn't, but
so I feel like it's like the second coming of that sort of. Yeah. But I don't know how they have all this copyrighted content on there. Like they have like music that you can dance to and things like that. It's essentially, I think it's designed to be a short form.
It's video only.
Video only.
Longer than 6 seconds.
Yeah.
But it's still short form.
But it's video.
Which Vine was 6 seconds? Or
Vine was 6 seconds.
Vine was capped at 6 seconds, yes.
So is it effective? Is that effective for realtors?
Vine?
TikTok?
Yeah.
Vine would have been tough. TikTok is not capped at 6 seconds.
It's not capped at 6 seconds, but I would advise anybody to just make a profile And for when it does truly pop, not to say that it hasn't, because there's like over 1 billion users, I believe, now.
Yeah.
It's good to get on there and claim your at Ryan Rusnak or whatever handle that you want.
For sure. Because I feel like even around here, I'm not going to say I was the first realtor to be on Instagram, but I feel like I was sort of in the early stages, real estate wise, around here.
Awesome.
And now it's pretty much every realtor has an Instagram account, I'd say, around here now, right? Like, and there's a lot of us that are using it pretty effectively, and you can, with the paid sponsorship now, that's when you see the analytics on the back end.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
What you get for, $100 investment is pretty crazy.
Yeah, you get a lot of eyeballs.
And I know last year I sold at least one house from it.
That's sweet.
The client specifically told me that's where she saw the property.
That's awesome.
So it definitely has its place.
Yeah.
And I think just being in real estate, you have to try different things. Like the traditional modes of marketing are extremely expensive, right? Newspaper, radio, they're great. They're effective too. I think they still have their place, but they're not cheap.
But for the price, for the value that you get,
right?
Dollar spent, ROI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say that you use Instagram more than Facebook, or where are you at? Do you use Twitter?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. What do you use Twitter for?
I'd say everything that I post new listings. I just got a new website, so I tweet out the link for that.
Sweet. What's your website?
It's ryanrusnak.ca.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I try to use them all. I mean, they're free. It takes no time.
Yeah.
So why not? You just never know where that real estate's a lot of like throwing the spaghetti against the wall and hoping and just seeing what sticks, right? And I mean, anything that's free, I'm all for it.
Yep.
You might as well try it. I mean, yeah. So have I got any business? I don't think so. I think it's all just branding, right? It's all just being top of mind and just reminding people that you're still in the business. You haven't retired or you're not doing something different. You need to constantly be reminding your followers or your client base that you're still doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting about real estate is you may work with an agency or for an agency, but it's all about you.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yep. So it's law. Every realtor has to work with a brokerage in Ontario. But yeah, at the end of the day, you're creating your own brand. Definitely. Mm-hmm. We're all self-employed.
Yeah. So with that, like say somebody's fresh off of getting they just wrote their real estate license.
Yep.
What advice do you have to them? Say they're fresh, like just started.
Just talk to people. Like honestly, just get out there and talk to people. You see some of the younger realtors now that are doing well. They're just out there. They're just out there networking.
Yeah.
That's the key. At first, so my first year, I think I only sold 4 houses. Okay. Which is bad. That's terrible.
That's a bad year.
That's bad. But you're nervous and you're waiting for you think people are going to come to you, and it just doesn't work that way. Yeah. I remember this guy my teacher who taught me the commercial real estate course. He's been a realtor in Waterford for years and does like very well. And he just said, he's like, I never go to a bank machine. I always go to a bank teller. And that always stuck with me. I don't know why. I just always remember that. Because he's like, I've got so much business just from networking with people at banks.
Wow. Interesting.
Just talking to anyone, right? Like to anyone you know. I kind of relied on, I thought too, like friends and family, but I mean, I quickly realized that was not going to happen. So it's just been getting out there and talking to people. You just never know. I remember once I was getting my passport renewed, and I started talking to the lady that was doing the paperwork, and she just making small talk, like the passport process takes a while. And she's like, you're a realtor. We're talking. She's like, I might be selling my house. I got her phone number and we kept in touch. I ended up selling her house.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, and I represented the buyer too. And I then sold that buyer's other house. So just from 3 sales. Yeah. And it was a pretty nice 2-story house, nice subdivision. So it's crazy. You just never know. Like,
that's awesome.
You can't be, you got to be out there. You got to be networking. You got to be your own biggest cheerleader, right?
And I think that's applicable for all business too, not just real estate agents, but even us. Just going out to networking events, being at different things, just being out there is gives you a leg up for sure.
Yeah, even like the business after 5, business after hours, right? Those are great.
We're going to one of those tomorrow, actually. But yeah, I mean, I think Quinn and I were trying to look less at what's directly going to lead into a sale, and looking at, like you said about the spaghetti, throwing it at a wall, just putting yourself out there more. Because if you do that enough, people are going to start recognizing you, start remembering.
100%.
And
it's like human nature, right? Like
Yeah.
it takes a while for people to trust you, right? They want to see you like 3 or 4 times before. I remember one of my best clients. I think I probably got 5 or 6 referrals from him. Wow. Sold him 3 or 4 houses, rental properties, and I met him. It took like 3 or 4 times meeting him at open houses, playing hockey, and then people kind of get to trust you, right? Like they don't. I mean, we've been doing business together for quite some time too, so it takes a while for. It's just human nature, right? People today they kind of have their guard up, and they can be kind of, questioning, and so yeah, I'm not sure where I was going with that, but.
No, I got the gist of it for sure.
Yeah, no, they want to see you, and you make yourself familiar, right? If
Yeah.
they see you every time they open Instagram,
And
then
feel
it's less foreign, more comfortable.
That's right.
I agree, yeah.
Absolutely.
We feel the exact same way.
Absolutely. So I went to this course in fall 2019, this real estate coach in Toronto. He's like probably the top real estate coach in Canada. He does very well. And he said you have to like talk to a client 12 times before to even like hope to get their business.
Yep.
And so say you've got that client, you need to then contact them. He figured 35 times a year just to like in hopes of keeping their business in this day and age, right? Yeah. There's so many options for people, especially with real estate. There's a lot of different options. So you have to, every day I just try to remind myself, like you have to continue to work at it every day.
Yep.
I mean, nothing falls in your lap. The guys that do really well at it, that are doing well now, they're out there every day.
Yep.
Looking for work. And
that's what it takes. And so you're constantly like reinvesting in yourself too, by the sounds of things. Like are you reading sales books? Are you going to sales seminars and stuff too?
Yep, absolutely. So it's called Richard Robbins. So I've been doing that. I follow all his stuff. He has a podcast, and he has a lot of good material online on his website. Stuff. So I follow all of his coaching, and
awesome.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah,
good.
Absolutely.
Good. What other podcasts do you listen to?
What other podcast are there? Spit and Chicklets?
Never heard of that one.
Somebody mentioned that to me yesterday.
Yeah? It's a big hockey podcast.
Right?
Yeah. It's awesome. So it's run by it was started by 2 former NHL players.
Okay.
So I'm big into hockey. So I always listen to that regularly. It's pretty awesome. They have like retired NHL players come on, and
cool.
No, it's really cool. I'm big into like murder mystery podcasts. Okay. So the Chasing Cosby, LA Times did a Bill Cosby one.
Yeah, really.
That was cool. Yeah, okay. Chasing Cosby.
Those are actually really popular podcasts.
The true crime.
They're like if you're into Dateline and all those murder mystery shows, like those are great. And I probably only got into podcasts like a few years ago. I mean, I am older than you guys, so we didn't grow up with this kind of thing, but. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what other. That would probably be it for podcasts right now.
Okay.
I think what's crazy about the podcast is like it seems like a contradiction because the trend is social media is getting shorter and more bite-sized. Like they say, people have smaller attention spans than they used to, and Instagram is lighter than Facebook, easier to digest. And then there's TikTok, which is even shorter, and quicker. And then podcasts are like the absolute opposite of that. Like you can sit down for 3 hours, 2 hours, and people eat it up.
Yeah.
So I just think it's interesting that there's still a demand for that, even though all the other social media trends are going in the other direction.
Mm-hmm. And what's funny too is that since we started this podcast, yes, we're only 3 episodes, and we only have 2 episodes published.
You're a second guest, by the way, so thank you.
Yes,
awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm honored.
So we've realized that people are actually watching this podcast more than they are listening to it. Now, I don't know if they have it on in the background at work or whatever the case is, but we have more YouTube views than we do on Spotify and stuff like that. So people are watching people have conversations in this season of short attention spans.
Yeah.
I just think that if you have a good story and it's effective, people will watch. People
it doesn't matter
listen.
The medium.
It doesn't
people
matter.
Will,
if your story sucks
absolutely.
And it's 5 minutes long, Yeah.
I think with marketing now, the 2 people expect more. They kind of want to be wowed more. They expect more content. They want to be. It's tougher to engage, a person, right? With traditional marketing. Mm-hmm. You guys would know better than I, but it just seems like the paid sponsorship is kind of the way things are going.
That and the other thing too is the straight to the face camera stuff.
Right.
People are loving the straight to the face. Hey, this is my brand. This is me. Blah blah blah.
Like a raw,
uncut thing. But then you sprinkle in that really nice content as well, and you've got a really nice formula.
They get to, and I mean, I think it's like they get to feel like they know you pretty well, right? Before even maybe even before they're doing business with you, but they feel like they have a good understanding as to who you are. And
just like what you were saying about being an agent.
Yep, absolutely.
Just seeing somebody consistently. It's a compound effect for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
For sure. So what was the market like last month? Like, how is the market? Should we be selling? Should we be buying? Is it a buyer's market?
It's honestly, if you don't have to buy, I probably would suggest not buying and just hoping that there is a bit of a lull. It's just extremely low inventory. I mean, anything under 250,000 in the city is going multiple offer. Where before, I mean, you know, if you're back 2012, 2013, you could get a pretty decent house. Mm-hmm. There were sales around this neighborhood for well under 100,000 back then.
Yeah.
And now here we are. I mean, that house we shot together.
Yep.
Not far from your office. We had 8 offers on it.
Wow.
You know, it sold well over 18% over asking.
And
a little 2-bedroom house that was nothing to a cute house, but I mean. Yeah. It needed, anyone would go in there and there'd be quite a bit of updates needed. And
that's insane.
It's just tough for the people that aren't in the market right now that, they're kind of waiting and hoping that there's a bit of a slide back, and it just doesn't seem to happen. Mm-hmm. Those houses that are priced over like that 400,000 price point, they haven't appreciated really as much.
Yeah.
There's just not as many buyers since our average, our bread and butter is that 250, 260.
And they just go like quick.
Yeah. But it's crazy. Like so my neighborhood where I live now, South Side, you could have got a brand new raised rancher over there, 4-bed, 3-bath, ensuite, nice, granite, updated kitchen. So back in 2016, you could have bought over there for 280. Today, those are 400,000.
Yeah. Wow.
And those are, I mean, even now there's houses that are even older, raised ranchers that you list one at 400, it'll probably get multiple offers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean,
crazy.
It's just everything really has jumped up, and it's a mix of the economy's really strong still, and the fact that we've got these influx of buyers that our prices look so affordable to them, right? They can't. It's a $300,000 house in their market would be $550 or $600. So it's interesting to see if it'll continue.
Yeah. As far as the inventory goes, we see Maple City Homes building a ton of houses. We see multi-construction. They're building quite a few houses too as well.
Yep.
And the custom builders are also building. What is that going to do for the inventory issue? Do you think that that's helping? Do you think?
Yeah, it's going to help for sure. I think it's a little too late right now. Because, I mean, there wasn't much building here for about 15 years from year 2000 to like 2015, 2016, right? There wasn't a lot of development. You look at that Taylor Trail neighborhood, half that street basically stood vacant for years, right?
Yeah.
For like 15-year period.
Yeah.
So it's got to help. And I think it'll actually prop up the prices for the houses around there as well. Mm-hmm. But it's a very positive thing, and they seem to be selling them. They're beautiful houses.
I've heard some crazy stats about the building rate in the last year, that there's been more development in the last year than there has in the last 10 years combined, or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So
it's awesome. Yeah. No, it is great to see, and that's only going to attract more people here.
Exactly.
Which is ultimately what we want.
Yeah.
And it's super positive for the area. The area is right on the cusp of really popping.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I kind of hear, I have a young nephew. He's like 3, and I have a niece, and she's like 5 months old. But my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, they have a young family, and I know that you have a young family too. Do you find that it's tough to do stuff around here, and like what do you think could be the answer to that?
I don't find it tough though.
No?
I mean, my son's only 1.5 years, so we take him to the YMCA.
Yeah.
They're Kingston Park. He's not. I mean, we'll play at home with him a lot, but I mean, what else do they need to do?
Yeah.
I find that there's plenty to do around here. Really, in the summer, there's a lot to do, like Rondo Park. You got Greenview Aviaries, right, which is a lot of fun.
Nice.
like, is there really
Like,
that little less to do? Like, if you're in Toronto, what would you be doing with a kid? If you're in Toronto or London, maybe something like, I've had the idea like the factory in London, something like that would be.
That's what I was kind of leaning towards. Do you think that Chatham-Kent needs something like that? Or are you every single weekend like perfectly, like you guys are busy enough and the kids got stuff to do? Like
the odd, I'd say we're busy enough. And like the odd time we'll go to Windsor, just go shopping, go to the mall. Yeah. I mean, but I find there's everything that I want or kind of yearn for, it's here.
Awesome. As
he gets older, there might be things you might realize that I'm still pretty new into the parenting thing. What he's looking for that we might not have it here, but it's like every community there. It has its pros and cons, right? Mm-hmm. There could be something else that we could have here that to make it a little bit better, but I don't know. Right now, it's a pretty great place, I think.
Cool. I agree with you. I like what you said about what would you be doing in London, because like I know people who live in London or even in Toronto who do complain there's nothing to do.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think it's a mindset.
And the only difference is they're spending twice as much to live, right?
Yeah.
So
I think there's more than enough to do here if you're inventive with it. And one thing I'll say about Chatham is there's a lot of sports programs for kids.
There are
a lot of stuff to get active and keep
golf.
Kids busy.
I mean, we got awesome golf courses around, right? Like I play out at Maple City. There's a great junior program out there, so like I'm hoping that he'll kind of get into that, and there's a lot of good hockey programs. I mean, I think there's quite a bit to do here. Like the YMCA is a beautiful facility, right? Basically brand new. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really positive things going on around here. Definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, and being close to Windsor and London doesn't help. It does help. Yeah, and a lot if you want to get it on the weekend, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. It's only a stone's throw, right? Yeah. You're not even an hour.
Yeah.
And what's great too is being so close to Detroit from here.
Very true.
Like when I was living in Tillsonburg, you go to a Leaf game, you're 4 hours round trip, maybe more with traffic. Yeah. Here you can get to the Red Wings arena in an hour, really parked and everything, as long as there's no issues at the border.
Take the tunnel.
Yeah, it's
for sure. And for really big trips, you're still not far from Toronto.
No, that's right. Yeah, I've made it to Pearson Airport in like hour and 40 minutes before. It's not that far, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're close to Detroit Metro, and it's a really great place to live. I hope young people like continue to come back here.
Yeah.
I don't know. The municipality's definitely trying.
Definitely.
I think that needs to be the focus too. Like really to attract younger people in their 20s and 30s that are going to have kids and really raise their families here. That would be pretty ideal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can I ask, with the younger buyers you see, what kind of jobs do they have and what kind of jobs are bringing them to Chatham?
I would say mostly teachers, municipality,
really, okay.
Union Gas, or healthcare.
Okay.
But with that being said, like I've sold houses to people that there's still automotive. There still are automotive jobs and like Dashcore.
Yep.
I've sold houses to a bunch of people that work at Dashcore. Trying to think, kind of put me on the spot there.
Yeah. Well, healthcare is a big one, right? Because like the aging baby boomer generation.
For sure.
In Chatham, especially, people say it's a retirement community.
There's tons of nurses and doctors it's crazy. I mean, I'll do the tours for a lot of the doctors that are coming into town that they're trying to recruit doctors and specialists, and it's crazy. You'd never guess like there's a need for it, but there definitely is. So, and I just tell them the same thing too, right? Like doctors are making the same province wide.
Yep.
So why not live here? Mm-hmm. You're living for a fraction of what you're spending to live in Hamilton, London, Toronto, right?
True.
I mean, you're keeping way more of your money at the end of the day.
Yep. And
you're not battling with traffic. 15 minutes across town if you hit a train, right?
Yeah. Oh man, those trains.
I know.
And you know what's funny? That's actually one of my measurements to see how much we're growing is the lineup behind waiting for the train.
Yeah.
Sometimes those lines are getting wicked long.
Yeah.
So
my dad comes here and he's always adamant. This is over like the last 2 years. He's like, it's definitely getting busier here.
I notice it.
And that's
yeah.
I can't say that I do, but it's interesting to hear from someone that's not, he's not here that often and he notices it. So,
yeah.
No, it's a good thing.
I think if you're out on a main intersection or a road around like 9 a.m., 5 p.m., I definitely notice more traffic. It's crazy.
Cool.
But yeah, we've got a lot of room to grow. And
we definitely do. Yeah.
And it's exciting to be a part of it too. Like being able to just operate in this city is cool.
Yeah, for sure. It's the business network and the business community is really collaborative, right? Like, once I got out there and started to like really put myself out there and mingle with people, like there's people that really try to help you build your business. They know you're starting out, right? Like they want to try to help you, build your business and get clients. And if you're willing to work and you have a skill of some sort, there's a lot of work around here. It's crazy. Like I never would have guessed. Like I never would have guessed all the business that goes on around here, but it's a really thriving economy. It's there is a lot going on, a lot more than we get credit for. We're overlooked definitely by the bigger markets, but there is a lot going on here.
I'm constantly surprised doing business in Chatham. All the like businesses that are headquartered here,
for sure,
huge operations,
for sure.
That maybe if you're not directly involved in the business community, you don't know about. We learn about awesome stuff like that, like on a weekly basis. And the business community is also really tight knit, which is cool. And people really do help each other for the most part.
For sure. So who's most of your guys' clientele?
We work with clients from all different sectors,
right?
Different sectors. So we were actually talking about that on the last podcast, how cool it is to dip into every single sector and kind of get a feel for, number one, what's good about being in that sector.
Right.
But number two is like some of the struggles and stuff. It's cool being able to get like this broad view on business 101. Yeah. Right? Because we have some public figures, we have some restaurant food based, we have some auto mechanics, like we have a very
retail, right?
Retail.
Yep. We get a little glimpse in everything. Like we get a little glimpse into the real estate market and the restaurant industry. And like professional services or medical services or a lot of retail. Like home hardware is a business that we're trying to network more with now. Yeah. It's all over the place. So it's cool to.
And you guys could work with clients anywhere, right?
Anywhere, we do have clients
it could be
in Toronto.
Province wide.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about home hardware is there are hundreds.
Yep.
Oh, there's probably thousands Canada wide, right?
Really?
Franchisees, like there's tons.
We just started working with a new one in Newbury last week.
Yeah, McNaughton's.
Shout out to McNaughton's Home Hardware.
Shout out to McNaughton's.
They're great.
Yeah,
Monty is MPP, right? Yeah, they're a nice family.
That's that family.
McNaughtonville, I call Newbury.
Honestly,
I would have to agree. After
the
McNaughton's, they have the car dealership. They have basically they have that whole town. They run the town. So my old job, we had a contract with them too. We did it was called Waste Solutions. We did waste and recycling consulting for anybody that produced $500 a month in trash. Wow. So we had a contract with McNaughton's. We helped them save money. And same thing actually, similar to you guys. Like I was involved in like Cargill, the chicken plant. They do all the chicken for McDonald's Canada wide in London. It's all processed in London. So I'd go into that factory. Like I was in all golf courses, you name it, retail. Like it was crazy. I mean, so it's
quite they're quite the place.
Yeah,
for sure. So what are you looking forward to this year in Chatham-Kent? There's a couple of things happening. Festival of Nations is coming back. We got Retro Fest is always hit. Are you looking forward to anything this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I put my my dad's Corvette. I put that in Retro Fest last year. Nice. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. So I woke up at I had always heard, there's only so many spots on King Street, right? Yep. And you want to be on King Street if you got a car to park. Yep. So what time do you guys think I was up to get that spot on Saturday morning?
I'm gonna give a pretty good guess. I'm gonna say 4:30.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 4:15. Yeah. Got up. It was dark out. My wife's like the night before. She's like, "You're not waking up." I'm like, "No, I'm waking up." Like we had put work. We got a new battery in the car. The car was parked out in Walsburg for like 5 years. Yeah. And I said to my dad, I'm like, "This is gonna be a big. It was the 40th anniversary. It's gonna be."
It was a big year last year.
Oh, it was. That was the best, right? I mean, awesome. It was a spectacle. It was a total spectacle. Like it was crazy. I mean, maybe tens of millions of dollars worth of cars, right? Like it was crazy. It was absolutely awesome. Kid Rock was there. I mean, so I was up at like 4:15 a.m. Left my house, went to the car and dog wash. Shout out to the car and dog wash on Park Ave, and vacuumed the car up, and then parked her out there. And there was guys. I was probably about the 10th car there. Wow. There was guys that were there way earlier than me, but I got a spot right out by the mall, like right by Retro Suites, and right in between the mall and Retro Suites, basically by the Retro Suites parking lot. And it was awesome. There's crazy. There's so many people just sat out there, and I still keep in touch with the guy. There was a pilot, lives in Toronto, but his mom lives in Ridgetown. So he had an old. It was a Chevy, and he parked it next to me. Still keep in touch with him. So just the people you meet. There's people from like all over. There's a guy from like Las Vegas.
Oh yeah.
That brought us. There's people from all over like North America. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of things to do right in town.
Absolutely.
Like, that's a
and how
huge
good is that
event.
for the downtown, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
100%.
great. Like that's got to be positive for all those restaurants and
The merchants and-
the merchants, right? Like that's what we need. It's Amazon and Walmart and Home Depot have enough money, right?
Yeah.
Like get downtown, support the downtown.
Definitely. Yeah.
It drives me nuts when you see our downtown could be better. It's got a long.
It has a long way to go, but
mall,
it has so much potential.
We could do a podcast just on
the mall.
On the downtown.
We can talk a little bit about about the mall if we want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, it's up to us. Like we need to get down there and
Yeah.
support it.
Yeah. What would you like to see happen to the mall? Because we have to keep in mind that the state of retail itself.
It's just, I know it is, and that's just it. I mean, I think they're just victims of like this era in time, right? It's so convenient now just to order stuff online.
Yeah.
I don't know what the solution is. I wish I had the solution. Like I recently met that lady that's trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's employed by the mall and she's trying to help just get it a bit more occupied. But
I'd like to see more events in there.
yeah,
It'd be a
anything.
great event space.
Maybe not come right out of the gate with a bunch of retail space, but get the people there first.
You need to create, because if you get someone there, they're gonna buy something, right? They'll buy from the dollar store, or they'll buy from there. If I go there, I'm gonna spend money on something, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are good stores there. It's just getting people to just get there. I mean, I don't think that's a problem that's unique to Chatham though. Like
No.
it's North American wide, right? It's just the landscape of retail is changing, and it just sucks when it's right in the downtown.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of vacancies right on King Street too, which is a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
If they did something with the food court, I would go there for that alone. If there were a couple nice, quick restaurants in there,
Yeah,
have an event every weekend, get people walking through it. Open it up
absolutely.
again.
And I think that's what she's trying to do.
It
Like,
looks depressing. I'll be honest, right? Like that's part of the turnoff. I don't want to go in there because it makes me sad.
There's 3 people in there.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Play some music. Get people to come in for free.
For
Bring them
sure.
some value.
Yeah.
and they're their own worst enemy. Like people, wasn't the escalator broken for like?
I believe it's broken again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
so I
broken
mean,
for 9 months.
you gotta like.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta keep up the basic necessities of anything, right? I mean, if McDonald's, if their doors weren't open, or if it was like ceiling was falling down, we probably wouldn't go to McDonald's. Like you have to make things somewhat usable for the consumer. There's a lot of options for consumers now, right? There's a ton of options. I always try to remind myself too, like my business, people always say to me, wow, you get back to me really quick. Your customer service is amazing. And I love that, because if I don't do that, if I take days to get back to someone, they'll reach out to somebody else. They'll reach out to a competitor, and they've forgotten about me, and I'm gone from their lives forever.
Yep.
Right? They're probably not coming back. So I just read a book by this guy. He owns like, I don't even know, 200 restaurants in the US, extremely successful. Wow. And his one quote was like, everyone's in the customer service business. Everyone, regardless of what, doesn't matter what you are. If you're a dentist, a doctor, or you own a sunglass shop, like we're all, in the customer service business, and you have to treat the client like king.
Yep.
Or they will go somewhere else, and someone else will provide them with the service they expect.
Yep. It's very true.
I think real estate agents do a nice job of that. Like when you guys do the open houses, a lot of agents are going the extra mile. Like food and drinks. And
Yeah, for sure.
making it a nice experience,
Because that's what it is. Everything's about experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I love doing that kind of thing. Once you get it all set, when you're, it's kind of a pain. I'm not a planner. I wish I was better at that, working on that. But once it's all set up and you've got it there, and you can take some pictures and promote it, and people, they show up. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but I had this little house listed on Park Lane. I rolled out a big red carpet.
Saw that.
Yeah, and people were loving it. I still get comments about that months later.
Yeah.
Guys I play hockey with, I didn't even know they followed any of my stuff. They're like, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that you bought a carpet, and
Just like that.
and people would walk into that house, and they were like, they were laughing. They're like, that's hilarious. But I don't know. You got to differentiate yourself, and I still find it funny. It just sucks you can't do it in the winter, really. But
You're
it's
100 times more likely to remember the whole thing if it makes you laugh or
That's right.
whatever it is.
People don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel,
100%.
right?
Yep.
So,
and I think that could also be tied back to our discussion on retail. Is that's kind of what we see companies doing, is they're making retail an experience.
you have to.
You have to,
right?
So, and I think, for example, the Apple Store is a great example of that. You go in, you get to play with all of their stuff. Like it's an experience.
And once you've got it in your hand and you're realizing how fun it is, and you can envision yourself using this in your daily life, you're probably going to buy it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And locally, one company that's done a really good job on experience, and I've eaten there a couple times, is Centro.
Yeah.
I love going into that place.
It's got a great
vibe.
Vibe.
The atmosphere is
awesome
amazing.
vibe.
The atmosphere is top notch, and that's what you have to do, and people will keep coming back.
Yeah. Yep.
So
if I'm eating in, that's a big part of the
Look at Sonia Row too.
Sonia Row is an
on King Street.
Yep.
Like it's that you go in there and it feels like a world-class jewelry store, right? Like
I almost feel like I'm downtown Manhattan sometimes when I
absolutely.
walk. Yeah.
Like they've done a great job with it's very classy, very elegant, and they're always there to help you, but they're not they're not pestering you and trying to sell you something, but they're there to answer any questions you have. So no, it's such a competitive landscape now. It's so convenient. You can get anything you want ordering on your phone. It's there 2 days later. So if you're going to get me to come off my couch and like if I'm going to go to your store, you got to go above and beyond and treat
100%.
people,
I'm not
treat them like
for,
royalty.
Yeah. I'm not coming because it's cheaper.
No.
I'm not coming because it's a better selection.
Yeah.
Coming because of you and the atmosphere. And
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're actually, after this podcast, Jared and I, we're having our Monday meeting. And in that meeting, we're going to be talking about the headshots that we have coming up tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, I'm totally dating this. This might not be out by then. I'm not sure. But
there's an event called Ultimate Me Day.
Yep.
At SOAR Innovations. It's promoted by 519 Events and Promotions.
Yep.
And basically, it's a networking opportunity. I think it's targeted towards women.
It's women only. Female
Entrepreneurs. And Quinn and I were invited down there to do headshots. So we're going to set up a portion of the space. And speaking about atmosphere, SOAR's got a really cool atmosphere.
Very cool.
Yeah, we had some pictures done there too for United Way back in September.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
You know how it looks, right?
Yeah,
Like it's a cool vibe. But there's different rooms.
Absolutely.
So there's this living room kind of room near the back.
Yep.
And we were invited to set up a headshot studio there.
Awesome.
So we're going to bring all of our gear and we're going to set something up for them to take pictures. But we want to take it to the next level. So we're going to maybe bring some food and drinks. We're going to decorate the space.
Music, everything.
Yeah, we're going to have music. It's going to be a vibe.
It's going to be an experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you guys. That'd be great.
Come for the headshot, stay for the rest.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's everything. Like how you package what you're doing, because you could go anywhere and get a headshot.
For sure.
Absolutely. But they're going to remember. Yeah. And they'll probably go home and tell their spouses, tell their friends about the event. It's something unique to the market, right? Like I've never heard of anything like that happening around here. So no, that's awesome. Yeah. That's what's great about you guys. You think outside the box.
Thanks. Yeah. We try to. So we like to, we can wrap it up. Do you guys have anything else?
Yeah, I just love what you were saying about like the retail experience.
Yeah.
At Apple, because you see like Microsoft is doing the same thing with their stores.
Yeah.
One thing that I think is cool about Apple is if you walk in there, any given day they have classes. So these are free, drop in. You don't even have to own an Apple product.
Nope.
But they'll have classes designed for seniors, teaching them how to use the iPad. And you'll literally see an instructor teaching them how to take a selfie and stuff like that.
But that's great, right?
Like workshops for the kids, teach them coding and stuff.
For sure. No, that's genius.
Apple recognizes that, okay, maybe you don't own an Apple product yet, but if you ever do, well, like if you're ever looking for a computer or whatever, you're going to go back to the place where they taught you how to use whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And it's brilliant.
They're the best at that. They actually just got a new VP of retail, Angela Anhertz. Angela something, I think. Yep. And she came from Burberry, which is a luxury brand. Yep. And these luxury brands are masters of the experience. Because if you're going to pay a huge markup on something, then you better be getting top-notch service.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that they're taking kind of cues from that kind of market.
Yeah.
And they're doing a lot with the Apple stores. They're making them more inviting, making it more like a community hub.
Yeah.
And less like a place where you go and buy something. Yeah. I think that's a really important trend for
that can be applied. Yeah. And that can be applied to pretty much any sector. Anything. I would say, right?
Anything.
Yeah. So. It's because we're still talking about that, and it's just all comes back to like how the consumer felt.
Yeah.
How they, the good experience they had. And it's, it's genius. It's why Apple is, worth more than a lot of small countries,
Combined.
right? Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's unreal. And they were, 25 years ago, there were some pretty bleak times there, right?
Yep.
Back when I was a kid, like it wasn't always roses. So it's great to see.
For sure. So we like to end the podcast with a tip. So it can be a life tip, it can be a business tip, it can be whatever you want it, but we just kind of want to end it off. This is Ryan's tip for everybody listening.
Maybe for somebody who's looking to become an agent, somebody who's looking to buy or sell. However
for sure.
You want to take it. What's your message that you like?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I was just having this discussion actually on Saturday with a friend from out of town, and she was thinking about getting a real estate license. So, and I was in that boat for probably a year. Thought, I might not do too well at it. I told myself every reason why it wouldn't work. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I just decided, I'm like, my wife's like, just do it, just try it.
Yep.
So I started taking the courses, and best decision of my life. It's been tough, and it's, the hours are kind of wonky, right? Mm-hmm. A lot like your guys' work. Mm-hmm. But if you're thinking about doing it, just get into it, give it a try. There's a lot of business out there, and it is a lot of fun to do. And the people you meet, it's unreal. Like, I never would have guessed. I've made some like best friends just from people you've met doing real estate. Yeah. And you meet them, you keep in touch with them. You want to make sure they're happy after the sale, and then you end up playing hockey with them or golfing with them. And it's crazy the relationships that you built that you never would have had if not for this career. So I'd say if you're thinking about it, get into it. It is a lot of fun, especially around here. The average age for realtors is it's a bit higher than some other markets. So mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time to be doing it around here.
Someone's gonna take the torch then.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. For sure.
Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity here to get.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
Ryan.
for having me.
Good
This was. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad
it was a lot of fun. You guys do a lot of great work for the community, and I know you'll keep it up. And
appreciate you, man. And remember, everybody, Stubborn Buffalo.
Yeah.
We're gonna drop the website or the Facebook page.
Yep.
So you can check it out.
If you're thinking about realtors to work with, if you do work with me, part of the commission will go straight to hopefully finding a cure for that terrible disease. So I mean.
And not to mention, Ryan knows the market, just by helping you create the content. Like, we've seen how many houses that you're listing and selling all the time. Like,
this is all I do. I'm full time, literally eat, sleep, and breathe this job. This year I took Christmas Day off, but 2019 I did show a house on Christmas Day. That client didn't buy the house, but the house eventually sold. I'll work whenever. I will get back to people. I'm not 9 to 5 at all. Like, I stay up late and work, and sometimes I feel bad about when I'm texting you guys, but it's just kind of how the world works now. So I try to provide people with the service that I expect if I'm looking to hire somebody.
Totally. And
that's what I always remind myself
100%.
of. So
totally.
Yeah.
So plug your Instagram, plug your new website.
Yeah, make it your homepage, ryanrusnak.ca.
I'll get on that.
On Instagram, trying to get up to 1,000 followers. That would be nice. So
cool.
Still got a ways to go. But
what's your handle?
It is Ryan_Rusnak_.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Let's try to make it happen then.
All right. Thank you everybody for watching. And until next episode, peace.
Cheers.